Hello friends. What happens when an air sign ruled by Venus meets an earth sign ruled by Venus? On the surface, it sounds like a recipe for romantic bliss. But dig deeper into the pairing of a Libra man and a Taurus woman, and you'll discover a relationship that dances delicately between harmony and tension, beauty and stubbornness, poetry and practicality. So, can these two zodiac signs truly make love work, or are they destined to orbit in separate worlds? Let's unpack the true nature of their connection, from chemistry to conflict, emotional depth to shared values, and everything in between. Chemistry. Initial attraction. When a Libra man first sees a Taurus woman, it's not just interest, it's fascination. There's something about her quiet confidence, her grounded aura, her no-nonsense sensuality that instantly arrests him. She doesn't need to speak loudly or move dramatically to be noticed. Her presence alone says everything. To the Libra man, who is constantly scanning the room for beauty, balance, and intrigue, the Taurus woman seems like a rare work of art, timeless, understated, yet deeply alluring. On her end, the Taurus woman doesn't fall for charm easily. She's cautious with her energy and deliberate with her attention. But there's something about this Libra man that gets through her defenses. He doesn't just flirt, he orchestrates the interaction. His words are smooth but not cheap, his compliments feel sincere, and his attentiveness is refreshing. He asks the kind of questions that make her feel seen, not just looked at. And for someone as private as Taurus, that's rare. Their mutual ruling planet, Venus, plays a significant role in their magnetic connection. Venus isn't just about love, it's about aesthetic pleasure, tactile enjoyment, and shared beauty. These two are likely to connect over music, art, design, fashion, or even cuisine. A simple conversation about their favorite album might turn into a 2-hour exploration of emotion and memory. A walk through a city park becomes a shared sensory experience, the smell of the trees, the colors of the sunset, the warmth of the moment. There's a shared understanding that life is meant to be beautiful, and that feeling creates a strong initial bridge. But beneath the shared love for beauty lies the deeper truth. They process life, and love, very differently. The Libra man, as an air sign, is intellectually driven. He thrives on mental stimulation, loves debate, and is comfortable existing in the world of theory, what-ifs, and ideas. His version of romance includes long conversations under the stars, witty exchanges over coffee, and shared dreams that evolve with each passing week. The Taurus woman, as an earth sign, is much more anchored in the present moment. She believes love is shown, not just talked about. She values security, actions, and emotional consistency. For her, romance is a reliable hand to hold, a promise kept without needing to be reminded, the shared routine that builds trust over time. This is where the first layer of conflict might begin to form, not loud or dramatic, but subtle. While the Libra man might naturally flirt with a barista or joke with a stranger at the bookstore, the Taurus woman is watching closely. To her, love is exclusive. If he's like this with everyone, how is she supposed to feel special? Similarly, the Libra man may find her grounded approach too slow-moving or reserved at first. He's spontaneous, curious, and often unpredictable. He wants things to move, not necessarily fast, but fluidly. The Taurus woman, meanwhile, wants to be sure. She takes her time opening up. She needs to see consistency before she opens her heart, and this can feel like resistance to the Libra man, who interprets delayed affection as disinterest. Still, despite the undercurrent of tension, the attraction remains powerful, even intoxicating. He admires her strength, she admires his grace, and while they may not fall in sync immediately, the fascination they hold for each other is hard to shake. They're intrigued not just by who the other person is, but by how different they are, how foreign, and yet oddly familiar. Their chemistry is a kind of paradox. The quiet storm meets the charming breeze. Together, they create a climate of mystery, desire, and possibility. The Taurus woman grounds the Libra man's ideals. The Libra man lifts the Taurus woman's gaze to new horizons. They don't just meet, they mirror something the other didn't even know they were missing. But attraction alone is never enough. The initial magnetism is strong, yes, But if not nurtured with understanding, patience, and honesty, this same chemistry can just as quickly become confusion. He'll need to learn that true connection with a Taurus woman isn't just about charm, it's about showing up consistently. She'll need to understand that his flirtatiousness isn't necessarily betrayal, sometimes it's just part of how he connects. And yet, if both approach each other with curiosity instead of judgment, if they see their differences as lessons rather than obstacles, the chemistry between them can evolve into a deep, rich bond. A slow-burning romance, the kind that ages like fine wine. Because when air feeds earth just right, flowers grow. And with two lovers ruled by Venus, growth can be beautiful. Emotional dynamics. Emotionally, the relationship between a Libra man and a Taurus woman can feel like tuning two radios to different stations and hoping they'll play the same song. The frequencies are close, but not quite aligned. It's not that they don't feel, both signs experience emotions deeply, but the way they feel and how they process those emotions couldn't be more different. The Libra man operates largely from the mind. He intellectualizes almost everything, especially when it comes to feelings. His instinct is to understand, categorize, and rationalize. If a difficult emotion comes up, disappointment, anger, jealousy, his first move isn't to feel it, it's to analyze it. He'll talk circles around the issue, dissect it from every angle, and look for the most reasonable resolution. While this makes him appear calm and diplomatic, it can also come off as emotionally detached, especially to someone like a Taurus woman who values raw, grounded emotional authenticity. The Taurus woman, by contrast, is profoundly emotional, though she doesn't always show it outwardly. She doesn't talk about her feelings as quickly or as often, but that doesn't mean she doesn't feel them deeply. Her emotional world is rich, vast, and carefully guarded. She doesn't let just anyone in. But once she commits, truly commits, her emotional loyalty is unwavering. Her love is consistent, steady, and protective. However, because she opens up slowly, she needs clear signals of emotional safety and trust. She doesn't want constant emotional chatter. She wants to feel that everything is stable, sincere, and secure. This difference in style becomes critical. For the Libra man, talking through issues, even hypotheticals, is essential. He likes exploring emotional concepts in abstract ways. He may bring up concerns casually, even playfully, thinking that discussion is progress. But for the Taurus woman, constant emotional talk, without tangible action feels like spinning in circles. She wants to see the effort, not talk about the idea of it. When tensions arise, this disconnect becomes even more visible. The Libra man, eager to restore peace, may sidestep conflict altogether. He hates confrontation and will do almost anything to avoid it, even if it means pretending that nothing's wrong. He might offer vague reassurances or distract with humor, hoping the discomfort will simply fade. To the Taurus woman, this feels like a red flag. She doesn't want fake harmony, she wants real resolution. If he avoids the issue or changes the subject, she interprets it as a lack of seriousness, or worse, emotional cowardice. On the flip side, the Taurus woman's emotional steadiness can sometimes harden into stubbornness. Once she feels hurt or disrespected, it's incredibly difficult to move her. She can shut down emotionally, becoming cold and silent, not out of malice, but self-protection. To the Libra man, this emotional wall is baffling. He doesn't understand why she won't just talk it out. Her silence feels punishing. His need to re-establish emotional balance clashes with her need for emotional space and validation. Yet, and here's the hope, when both partners lean into their shared Venusian nature, something powerful begins to emerge. Libra's emotional intelligence, once redirected from avoidance to presence, can help the Taurus woman feel safe opening up. He can gently encourage her to share her inner world without judgment or pressure. His grace and patience can create a space where she feels valued and heard, not rushed. In turn, the Taurus woman's emotional resilience and authenticity can teach the Libra man that emotions are not problems to solve but experiences to share. She shows him the power of being still in discomfort, of staying rooted when things get hard. Her loyalty isn't just romantic, it's emotional endurance. She doesn't run when things get messy. She stays and rebuilds. And that example can inspire the Libra man to dig deeper, stay longer, and resist the urge to seek easy peace. With growth, they can develop a beautiful rhythm. He brings lightness when her emotions get heavy. She brings depth when his emotions get thin. He helps her speak what she feels. She helps him feel what he thinks. Together, they create a space where intellect and emotion don't compete, they complement. But this emotional harmony doesn't happen overnight. It requires vulnerability. The Libra man must learn that love isn't always neat, that real intimacy sometimes means embracing the mess. And the Taurus woman must learn that trust isn't always built in silence. Sometimes it's spoken, negotiated, and redefined in the middle of discomfort. When they do the work, their emotional bond becomes something rare, thoughtful yet deep, tender yet grounded, passionate yet peaceful. It's not the whirlwind romance of fire signs or the spiritual merging of water signs, it's something else entirely. Something slower, more deliberate, more earned. And that's what makes it beautiful. Because when an air sign learns to stay, and an earth sign learns to open, the emotional landscape they create together isn't just compatible, it's transformative. Long-term compatibility. Here's where it gets tricky, or beautiful, depending on how evolved each partner is. Long-term compatibility between a Libra man and a Taurus woman hinges less on their similarities and more on how well they can navigate their differences without trying to change each other. At the surface level, they both crave love, connection, and a peaceful home life, but the roads they take to get there can look like entirely different maps. A Taurus woman is a slow-burning flame. She doesn't dive into relationships headfirst. She paces herself, assessing everything with caution and care. For her, love is something that grows steadily, like a tree with deep roots. She's not interested in chasing butterflies or experimenting with uncertainty. She wants emotional security, loyalty, and a partner who stays consistent. Comfort isn't laziness to her, it's safety. She envisions a future that is predictable in the best way. A home that feels warm, a life built on tradition, and a love that doesn't waver when things get tough. On the other hand, the Libra man is a romantic, perhaps the most idealistic lover of the zodiac, but also one of the most elusive when it comes to defining commitment. It's not that he fears love, he loves being in love, but he often fears the rigidity that can come with it. Libra is an air sign, and air hates being confined. He may hesitate to commit fully if he feels like the relationship is turning into a list of expectations and obligations. He values his personal freedom, his ability to explore, question, and keep things light, especially when life gets heavy. This contrast in pace and perception can make or break the longevity of the relationship. The Taurus woman might wonder why he's hesitant to define the relationship, to set down roots, to talk about marriage or long-term planning. She might mistake his desire for flexibility as emotional immaturity or lack of seriousness. Meanwhile, the Libra man may feel pressured by her desire for clear-cut definitions, routines, and commitments. He might interpret her groundedness as possessiveness or a lack of spontaneity. However, and this is a major however, when the Libra man is emotionally mature and self-aware, his presence in a long-term relationship becomes incredibly graceful and enriching. A Libra man who chooses commitment is someone who's already weighed all the options. He doesn't leap, he considers. And once he's all in, he brings a level of loyalty, elegance, and attentiveness that can deeply nourish the Taurus woman's soul. His sense of balance and fairness makes him a trustworthy partner, and his romantic gestures never lose their charm, even years into the relationship. Likewise, a Taurus woman who understands that love doesn't always need to look traditional or unfold according to plan can begin to soften her expectations. If she gives her Libra partner space to breathe and express love in his own, fluid way, she may be surprised by how naturally he meets her needs. Her strength, reliability, and emotional consistency create a safe container in which the Libra man can fully bloom. She becomes his emotional anchor, the place he returns to after exploring the world. When they truly sync, their partnership is a study in elegant contrasts. She brings depth and grounding to his airy idealism. He brings levity and charm to her structured world. They each bring a missing element the other didn't know they needed, and that balance can lead to incredible longevity. Of course, this requires conscious effort. Compromise is key. The Taurus woman may need to become more flexible, not about her values, but about how those values are expressed. Not every moment needs a plan, not every future needs to be locked down today. Meanwhile, the Libra man must become more grounded in action. Talking about love isn't the same as showing it. Dreaming about a life together is wonderful, but it must be paired with real-world decisions, accountability, and consistency. Their relationship must be treated like a garden. The Taurus woman is willing to do the daily tending. She's there, watering the soil, removing weeds, providing sunlight. The Libra man brings color and beauty, choosing where to plant each flower, ensuring the space reflects harmony. If either stops doing their part, the garden wilts. But when they work together, it thrives. Slowly, beautifully, quietly. In long-term compatibility, timing is everything. If they meet when one or both are not ready for the kind of emotional work this relationship demands, it can quickly fall apart. The Libra man might flit away at the first sign of too much pressure, while the Taurus woman might close off and refuse to wait around. But if they connect at the right time in their lives, when they're both ready to invest, trust, and grow, the rewards are immeasurable. They also need to build a shared vision. It's not enough to love each other, they must want the same kind of future. What does home look like to each of them? What role does career play? How do they handle finances, family, rituals, and routine? For the Taurus woman, these things matter deeply. For the Libra man, they matter too, but only if he feels like he's part of designing that vision, not just being plugged into someone else's system. The best part? When this match works, it really works. The Libra man brings light into her life, reminding her not to take everything so seriously. She reminds him that real love isn't just beautiful, it's reliable. It's there when you wake up with morning breath, when your plans fall through, when you're unsure of who you are, and it doesn't flinch. Their long-term compatibility may not be instant. It's not frictionless, but it is earned, and that makes it one of the most rewarding dynamics out there. Because the beauty of their connection lies not in how similar they are, but in how deeply they're willing to meet each other halfway. Communication conflict resolution. Let's not sugarcoat it. Communication between a Libra man and a Taurus woman is often the most delicate battleground in their relationship. Not because they don't care or lack intelligence, but because they come at conflict from two completely different emotional toolkits, and those toolkits often clash when pressure builds. The Libra man is a master of diplomacy. He is wired to smooth things over, to mediate, to consider every angle before making a move. At his best, he brings balance, grace, and rationality into every conversation. At his worst, however, he becomes evasive. He'll do anything to avoid confrontation, even if it means denying his own feelings or postponing uncomfortable truths. This is not due to malice or manipulation. Rather, it stems from a deep fear of disrupting the peace he so desperately craves. To him, conflict equals disharmony, and disharmony equals emotional instability, something he has spent his life learning to avoid. Now enter the Taurus woman, who is anything but indirect. Her communication style is grounded, firm, and pragmatic. She doesn't believe in sugarcoating or spinning issues into something prettier than they are. If something's wrong, she wants it addressed, immediately, clearly, and directly. She doesn't like guessing. She doesn't like emotional ambiguity. And she definitely doesn't like someone sidestepping reality just to keep things nice. For her, conflict is a part of life, not something to be feared, but something to be resolved. This is where their first, and often repeated, communication collision occurs. When an issue surfaces, the Libra man will try to lighten the tension, keep things civil, or even joke his way out of it. Meanwhile, the Taurus woman wants him to face the issue head-on. His hesitation, his passive-aggressive dodging, or his tendency to reframe the problem as, not a big deal, sends her into frustration. She may begin to feel like he's emotionally slippery, or worse, dishonest. On the flip side, the Taurus woman's straightforwardness can come across as blunt or emotionally inflexible to the Libra man. Her firm tone, her refusal to rehash the same debate endlessly, or her unwillingness to consider alternatives might feel harsh to someone who thrives on nuance. He might feel cornered, like he's being pushed into a decision without getting a chance to talk things through on his own timeline. Her demand for clarity might seem, to him, like an unwillingness to compromise. Libra wants to talk, Taurus wants to solve. Libra thinks in questions, Taurus thinks in conclusions. He needs time to weigh options. She needs to know what's real and what isn't. This difference in processing can cause some of their biggest miscommunications, not in the words they use, but in the timing and tone. Still, this isn't a doom scenario. Quite the opposite. In fact, when these two are willing to grow, they can become one of the most balanced communicative pairs, because what one lacks, the other has in abundance. The Libra man, with his natural sense of fairness and objectivity, can help the Taurus woman learn to see more than just her own perspective. He can gently guide her into considering other sides, softening her more rigid views without invalidating her core truths. His ability to stay calm during tension can be a grounding force that prevents arguments from escalating unnecessarily. With patience, he teaches her that sometimes how something is said is just as important as what is said. Conversely, the Taurus woman offers Libra something he desperately needs: clarity. She shows him that not every conversation has to end in a question mark. That sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is make a decision and follow through. Her grounded nature helps pull him out of his mental indecision and into real action. She helps him stop circling the problem and actually address it. With trust, she teaches him that conflict doesn't mean failure. It means honesty, and honesty is the real path to intimacy. But growth requires effort. The Libra man must face the uncomfortable truth that his desire to keep the peace can sometimes be a form of emotional avoidance. He must learn that avoiding a hard conversation doesn't make it go away, it just delays it, often making it worse. And the longer he avoids, the more her trust in him erodes. Likewise, the Taurus woman must learn that standing firm doesn't always mean being right. That listening is not a sign of weakness. That compromise doesn't equal surrender. Sometimes, bending a little is the only way to keep the bridge from breaking. They must also learn to communicate in each other's language. If the Libra man can speak with more conviction, even when unsure, the Taurus woman will feel safer. If the Taurus woman can phrase her concerns with a bit more softness and space for dialogue, the Libra man won't feel so pressured or judged. Timing plays a crucial role here. Taurus prefers immediate resolution. Libra prefers thoughtful exploration. They need to agree, consciously, on when and how they'll discuss conflict. Maybe it's waiting until emotions cool. Maybe it's agreeing not to interrupt. Maybe it's setting clear boundaries for what is, and isn't, fair during a disagreement. Whatever their system, it needs to be intentional and mutual. Over time, their arguments will reveal something deeper. Not opposition, but a desire to feel heard. When they stop seeing each other as combatants and start seeing each other as teammates with different strengths, everything changes. The Libra man teaches her that empathy and tact can elevate even the most difficult conversations. The Taurus woman shows him that integrity and directness create a strong foundation for love. Together, they build a communicative style that blends his balance with her authenticity, his questions with her answers, his peacekeeping with her problem solving. In the end, communication between a Libra man and Taurus woman becomes less about avoiding conflict or winning an argument, and more about building something stronger than either of them could create alone: emotional trust. And that trust, once earned, becomes the true language of their love. Physical intimate connection. Here's where things really get interesting. The physical and intimate connection between a Libra man and a Taurus woman is something truly special, not because it's explosive or instant, but because it's layered, evolving, and deeply sensual when nurtured correctly. While emotional differences and communication styles might cause friction elsewhere, when it comes to physical connection, these two share a rare and powerful alignment, rooted in their shared planetary ruler, Venus. Venus governs love, beauty, sensuality, art, and all things pleasurable. And in the case of Libra and Taurus, that Venusian influence shapes the way each partner approaches intimacy, both emotionally and physically. However, even though they're both ruled by Venus, the expression of that energy plays out in very different ways. For the Taurus woman, physical intimacy is a slow-burning journey. She doesn't rush into closeness. Her sensuality is patient, measured, and deeply embodied. She views touch as sacred, something earned through trust, consistency, and emotional safety. It's not about the act itself, it's about what it means. A kiss isn't just a kiss. A caress isn't just about sensation. It's communication. It's a promise, and she won't give herself fully until she's sure the connection is real. Once that trust is built, though, she becomes an incredibly affectionate, loyal, and grounded lover. Her sensuality is earthbound. She brings warmth, presence, and depth to every touch. For her, physical intimacy is one of the primary ways she expresses love. She's not one for flashy declarations or flirtation games. She shows up through steady affection, the kind you can count on. To her, physical closeness is an extension of emotional safety. The Libra man, on the other hand, approaches intimacy with charm and elegance from the very beginning. He is expressive, flirtatious, and immediately open to connection, not just physically, but romantically. He's the type to create a mood, dim the lights, play the music, pour the wine. For him, it's all about the aesthetic of intimacy. He views lovemaking as an art form, something to be crafted, experienced, and remembered. It's not just about chemistry, it's about beauty, harmony, and emotional rhythm. He is generous in bed, attentive to his partner's needs, and emotionally attuned to the atmosphere. He thrives when there's a sense of emotional admiration and mutual pleasure. He needs to feel desired, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Compliments, looks of appreciation, and romantic engagement outside the bedroom are part of the foreplay for him. When these two find themselves in each other's arms, the experience can be incredibly rich, almost cinematic. He brings lightness and playfulness. She brings presence and substance. Together, they create a sensual experience that's as much about emotional connection as it is about physical pleasure. But this doesn't mean things are always smooth. Their different approaches to building intimacy can cause some early tension. The Libra man may be ready to connect sooner, interpreting her cautiousness as disinterest. He might push for closeness too early, mistaking her emotional reserve for shyness that needs coaxing. Meanwhile, the Taurus woman may feel like he's rushing into something sacred without earning her trust first. She might view his early expressions of affection as superficial or insincere. This disconnect can cause the relationship to stall if not handled with patience. But if he slows down, truly listens and allows her to open at her own pace, she will eventually invite him into her world in a way that's profound and lasting. And once she does, their physical bond has the potential to be deeply transformative. Another critical factor is emotional safety. Neither Taurus nor Libra thrives in chaotic or emotionally unstable environments, especially when it comes to physical intimacy. If the relationship becomes riddled with misunderstandings, unspoken resentments, or emotional neglect, the physical connection begins to erode. The Taurus woman may withdraw completely, closing off access to her vulnerable side. The Libra man may begin seeking attention or validation elsewhere, not always through infidelity, but perhaps through flirtation, fantasy, or emotional distance. What keeps their physical relationship alive is a foundation of mutual respect, attentiveness, and continuous emotional investment. If the Taurus woman feels deeply valued, not just physically, but as a whole person, she responds with loyalty and unmatched sensuality. If the Libra man feels admired and emotionally appreciated, his romantic creativity flourishes, and he becomes incredibly giving and devoted. They also have the potential to deepen their intimacy over time, rather than letting it fade, something many couples struggle with. The Taurus woman finds comfort in familiar touch, while the Libra man brings subtle variety and romantic surprises. Their bedroom doesn't have to be full of fireworks to stay alive. It thrives on atmosphere, affection, emotional safety, and the shared pursuit of pleasure. With trust, they become explorers together, learning each other's rhythms, desires, and boundaries with increasing sensitivity. There's also a physical grounding to their connection that many couples envy. Taurus brings the physical presence, a comforting touch, a lingering kiss, a warm embrace. Libra brings the emotional layer, the whispered compliments, the poetic timing, the unspoken admiration that turns simple gestures into sacred rituals. When these energies combine, the physical bond becomes more than satisfying, it becomes healing. However, the danger zone lies in taking each other for granted. The Taurus woman, once secure, may stop expressing appreciation or novelty. The Libra man, if he doesn't feel desired or validated, may drift into romantic detachment. That's why it's vital that they both continually nurture their intimate life, not just through sex, but through emotional connection, sensual moments, and genuine presence. A simple touch in the kitchen, a look across the room, a compliment that wasn't necessary, but still offered. These are the moments that keep Venus alive between them. In the best-case scenario, their physical relationship becomes the glue that holds everything else together when times get hard. It becomes a place of return, of reset, a space where words fall away, and they simply feel each other. It doesn't have to be wild or experimental. It just has to be real and consistent. Because in the end, intimacy for a Libra man and Taurus woman is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about creating a shared space where vulnerability feels safe, beauty is honored, and pleasure is a language they speak fluently, together. Shared values, life goals. Both Taurus women and Libra men value love, loyalty, and beauty. But the way they define, pursue, and live those values couldn't be more different. This creates both a powerful point of connection and a complex challenge in long-term alignment. At first glance, they might believe they're chasing the same dream, but once they begin building a life together, they'll realize they speak different dialects of the same emotional language. For the Taurus woman, shared values are the core blueprint of a fulfilling life. She doesn't just dream, she plans. Her vision of happiness is tangible. A stable home, financial security, emotional consistency, and meaningful routines that make her feel anchored. She believes in putting in the work, not for temporary pleasures, but for lasting rewards. Her ideal life often includes a long-term partner she can trust implicitly, a cozy domestic space that reflects her taste and values, and perhaps a fulfilling creative pursuit that feeds her spirit but also pays the bills. She's not afraid to sacrifice short-term thrills for long-term peace. The Libra man, on the other hand, seeks beauty in movement, in thought, in evolution. He absolutely values love and loyalty, perhaps even places them on a pedestal, but his expression of those values is often filtered through imagination, dialogue, and aesthetic experience. He dreams of balance in his relationships, elegance in his lifestyle, and stimulation in his environment. Instead of building stability brick by brick, he prefers to float through options, possibilities, and future ideals before selecting what feels just right. He's often more focused on how life feels than how it functions. This creates a push-pull when it comes to life goals. The Taurus woman might have her 5-year plan outlined by month 2 of the relationship. She knows how much she wants to save, where she wants to live, how she wants to raise her children if she chooses to have them, and what her retirement might look like. Her goals are grounded, concrete, and deeply personal. She finds joy in reaching milestones, owning a home, building wealth, crafting rituals, hosting family dinners. To her, a successful life is one that's sustainable. The Libra man might find this admirable but slightly overwhelming. He too wants a meaningful life, but his journey toward it is more fluid. He might prioritize creative fulfillment, professional prestige, or global experiences before settling into a fixed rhythm. While she dreams of building a home, he might be dreaming of hosting intellectual salons in Paris or launching a podcast that explores the nature of love across cultures. His goals often shift with his evolving sense of identity, and he may resist committing to anything that feels limiting or final too early. This difference isn't necessarily a deal-breaker, but it is a defining feature of their compatibility. To thrive, they must actively define a shared vision of what success and happiness look like. Not once, but repeatedly over time. They must check in, realign, and evolve that vision together. Otherwise, they risk living side by side, but never truly with each other. The Taurus woman might begin to feel like she's doing all the heavy lifting in the relationship, planning, saving, building structure. She may resent his indecision or idealism if it feels like he's floating through life while she's stuck pouring concrete. The Libra man, meanwhile, might start to feel creatively or intellectually stifled by what he sees as her rigidity or overly cautious nature. He may crave spontaneity, novelty, and freedom in ways she finds frivolous or even risky. This tension can manifest in practical areas: finances, home ownership, parenting styles, career choices, even social lives. She may want to host cozy dinners with a tight circle of trusted friends. He may want to throw glamorous parties with artists, thinkers, and strangers. She wants to invest in real estate. He wants to invest in self-discovery. She finds peace in the familiar. He finds energy in the unknown. Still, the magic lies in their potential to balance each other. The Taurus woman can offer the Libra man something he secretly craves: groundedness. A safe place to land. A sense of emotional and logistical continuity that allows him to dream without drifting. In her presence, he may find the courage to commit, not just to her, but to the life they can build together. Her strength, loyalty, and clarity become anchors for his otherwise weightless ambitions. Meanwhile, the Libra man can bring lightness to the Taurus woman's world. He reminds her that not everything has to be earned with blood, sweat, and planning. That beauty can be found in moments of unpredictability. That change doesn't have to equal chaos. His social intelligence, sense of fairness, and intellectual depth help her consider paths she may never have chosen alone. With him, she learns to explore, not out of fear, but out of curiosity. To make this dynamic thrive, both must be willing to stretch. The Libra man must learn to ground his dreams, not give them up, but bring them into reality. He must learn that choosing isn't limiting, it's liberating. That committing to a path doesn't erase his identity, it enriches it. He must also take responsibility for the tangible side of partnership: paying bills, keeping promises, showing up in real-world ways that earn the Taurus woman's trust. The Taurus woman, meanwhile, must learn to allow space for the unknown. She doesn't have to abandon her values to welcome spontaneity. She must soften her grip on control and realize that life, and love, can't always be planned. That sometimes, the most beautiful moments are the ones you didn't see coming. By embracing his fluid nature without fearing it, she creates a space where they can both evolve. Together, they must revisit what a beautiful life means. Is it a sunlit home in the countryside or an apartment in a bustling city? Is it dinner parties and gallery openings, or homemade meals and Netflix marathons? Is it raising children, creating art, building wealth, traveling the world, or some blend of all those things? If they treat this question as an ongoing conversation, not a one-time agreement, they can continuously rediscover each other. And in doing so, they grow a relationship that is not only built on shared values, but shaped by shared intentions. Ultimately, they both want the same thing: a life of meaning, love, and harmony. They just have to decide, together, what that really looks like. And if they do, that dream becomes more than possible. It becomes real. Final thoughts. So, are Libra men and Taurus women compatible in love? The honest answer is, yes, they absolutely can be, but only if they're both willing to grow, stretch, and embrace a kind of love that doesn't always come easy, but always holds depth. This is not a match made in effortless heaven. It's a match made in deliberate devotion, a connection that must be tended, like a slow-growing rose, with patience, wisdom, and care. Their initial chemistry is magnetic, and for good reason. Both are ruled by Venus, the planet of love, romance, beauty, and pleasure. This shared rulership gives them an instant romantic common ground. They both value connection, intimacy, and the finer, softer parts of life. From the beginning, their attraction is poetic, cinematic, rich in sensual undertones. They're both lovers, not fighters. They both seek peace, not chaos. But beneath that harmonious exterior lies a profound contrast in how they move through the world, and it's those differences that define whether the relationship flourishes or fades. The Libra man is the eternal seeker of balance. His mind is always active, weighing choices, seeing all sides, wanting everything to feel fair and beautiful. But this mental balancing act can lead to indecision, inconsistency, and a fear of confrontation. His instinct is to please, to smooth over tension, to avoid the uncomfortable. He prefers words to actions, ideas to plans, and conversation to confrontation. The Taurus woman, meanwhile, is grounded, unshakable. She knows what she wants, and she's not afraid to build it brick by brick. She values emotional security and loyalty above all else. She has little tolerance for ambiguity, games, or relationships that feel like they're always, almost there, but never quite landing. She wants action. She wants presence. She wants love that shows up, not just love that sounds good on paper. These differing styles can cause friction, particularly as the relationship shifts from flirtation to foundation. The Libra man may feel pressured by her need for clarity and routine. He might perceive her as rigid or overly cautious. She, in turn, may feel frustrated by his hesitation to commit, his tendency to overthink, and his avoidance of tough emotional conversations. The potential for misunderstanding is real, but so is the potential for transformation. Because this pairing, when handled with emotional maturity, has the power to be deeply healing for both. The Libra man teaches the Taurus woman how to loosen her grip, to breathe into uncertainty, to dance with life's unknowns instead of trying to control every outcome. His lightness, his humor, his grace, all of it brings a kind of joy and emotional oxygen into her world. He reminds her that love is not just security, it's also beauty, play, and expression. The Taurus woman, in turn, teaches the Libra man the value of staying, of choosing, of committing not because you've exhausted all your options, but because you know in your heart what, and who, is right. Her loyalty becomes his anchor. Her calm presence becomes his safe space. She teaches him that love isn't just poetry, it's action. It's consistency. It's being there when things aren't beautiful. Together, they can become the embodiment of Venus at her highest form. A love that is equal parts romantic and real. Soft and solid, dreamy and dependable. But, and it's a big but, this doesn't happen by default. This relationship demands work, real work. The Libra man must learn to step up, to make decisions, to stop deflecting, to recognize that avoiding discomfort only creates more of it. He must realize that being charming is not the same as being present. That sometimes, the kindest thing he can do is tell the truth, even if it risks temporary disharmony. The Taurus woman must learn to let go, not of her standards, but of the need for control. She must realize that not everything needs to follow a blueprint, and that love sometimes grows in the messiness of contradiction. That flexibility isn't a threat to security, it's a strength. And that a partner who processes life differently isn't broken, he's just speaking another emotional language. This relationship doesn't thrive on autopilot. It thrives when both people show up every day with the intention to listen, learn, forgive, and build. It asks for patience, compassion, and a willingness to stretch beyond comfort zones. It requires both to honor their own needs and their partners, and it calls for a shared belief that love is not a destination, it's a practice. But when they get it right, oh, it's stunning. The air of Libra feeds the soil of Taurus, and together, they grow a garden of grace. It's a relationship full of candlelit dinners, gentle mornings, unspoken trust, thoughtful gestures, and deep, unwavering loyalty. It's sensual without being shallow, romantic without being fragile. It's the kind of love that doesn't burn out, it matures. Because in the end, beauty isn't just found in harmony. Sometimes it's in the contrast. In the way air kisses the earth. In the space between stillness and motion, thought and instinct, logic and feeling. In the friction that makes the fire burn just right. So, are Libra men and Taurus women compatible in love? Yes, not by chance but by choice. And when that choice is made with open eyes and open hearts, they can write a love story that's not only beautiful, but timeless. If this deep dive resonated with you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more cosmic insights, and check out the links in the description for your personal zodiac match breakdown. Until next time, keep looking to the stars.